I hope intermission was as good for you as it was for me. We're back after that intermission with the grand final game number 5 of MC versus Bomber.
And you know what, at the rate we're going at, Sean, I absolutely feel like this could go the distance. Both these guys going back and forth, just teetering over the edge, and eventually one will fall over. But 2-2, happy to be here with just 3 games remaining, and ultimately to decide who will be the champion of Red Bull Battlegrounds.
That last game was the turning point match in this tournament in my eyes. I mean, Bomber destroyed MC in their group stage matches. Bomber destroyed Squirtle in their semifinal match. And those first 3 games, Bomber destroyed MC in the straight-up matches, only losing 1 cheese all-in match. And that last game, MC crushed Bomber in the straight-up game. That has to feel great.
Yeah, it does, especially after getting your main Nexus sniped. I mean, getting it clean and out clean. Bomber with just a remarkable play there, but MC keeping on it. Gateway units, great control. Got his storms when he needed to get them. And even his feedbacks were remarkable, keeping that ghost count low.
And I mean, it's almost the funny thing where you as a Protoss player are saying, I'm gonna have to probably build 12 Templar because there's no way you have that many snipes in you, right? You have to just get 1 to 3 storms off to turn the tide of battle.
You know, the other thoughtful thing coming out from MC in that game is that he just went for multi-pronged attacks, going at the 3rd and up into the natural as well.
Yeah.
And ultimately just almost Zerg-styled him, just swarmed him.
Yeah, and we're starting to see the growth of the Warp Prism as a way to get out of this defensive mode that Protoss players just seem stuck in against Zerg and Terran lately.
Yeah, in that particular case, the Warp Prism remained idle on the western side of the map in between the main and the natural for a while. But then when the opportunity arose, the army was so far away from the base, there wasn't a whole lot to deal with it. And guess what? We're going live with Antigua Shipyard.
It's game number 5 of the grand finals of Bomber vs. MC, tied up 2-2. Will Bomber be able to prove that he's the man who deserves first as the Red Bull sponsored player at the Red Bull Battlegrounds tournament, or will it be the Protoss player MC to pull it back and get his first American tournament win?
On the east side of the map as the blue Protoss tying up in the last game, 2-2 going on in game number 5. It is SKMC.
And down in the bottom left, showing a level of TVP that we have never seen before, the relentlessly aggressive Star-Tail Bomber.
The Star-Tail has had a great showing here throughout the entire competition at Red Bull Battlegrounds, but now the weight is on Bomber's shoulder, trying to bring it back for Squirtle, trying to bring it back for Parting. In fact, in his road to this grand final matchup, he had to defeat his own teammate, knock him down, who was ultimately then defeated by Stefano, who took 3rd, and now here he is trying to reclaim the crown for Star-Tail.
And I think Bomber is once again just going to be going for this long-term play on Antigua Shipyard. I think drops might even be more abusable on this map than any other, simply due to the fact that the front of the base is right next to this cliff, and the Protoss has a hard time bouncing back and forth between those 2 locations. I almost guarantee that Bomber will be probably going for that drop play non-stop in that mid-game.
Yeah, I mean, it would make a lot of sense too, especially once that 3rd gets up as well, abusing that a little bit more. And it definitely favored him quite well in the last matchup. In fact, that full medevac, 4 medevacs full of Marines and Marauders. And, you know, I mean, honestly, I thought that for sure MC was going to snipe off a few of those. So will he have those Blink Stalkers in position? Will he be able to shut that down from Bomber? That could be one of the reasons he gains victory here in this battle.
And I think that, you know, in this situation, I mean, kind of what you're pointing out is how fragile it is to even find an edge in a late game scenario, or I should excuse me, say a late tournament scenario like this one, where you've seen your opponent do this build throughout the entire event, and you go up against it, And even though you know it's coming, it's just too damn powerful. I mean, Bomber's timings, MC's surprise all-ins. We've seen both players get thrown off by the other throughout the series.
Now Bomber did go with a quick CC, no gas quite yet, following up with another Rax behind this. So the the bunker is building at the front. Meanwhile, on the other side, we've got pretty much just the gateway out. Warp gate is being researched, and now we've got a sentry moving out. Zealot stays behind. It'll just be the stalker that moves out from the front of MC's base to the middle and check at the front. And soon we will see, are we going to have, yep, the third Rax does go down, and the one refinery goes down for Bomber.
Yep, Bomber just not willing to change this style up, and I don't blame him. It's perfectly safe against virtually everything. Marine Bunker is going to be absolutely impeccable in terms of defense at the start of the game, even allowing him to get that second bunker up. And there's a little clever twist that we're seeing Bomber do. This bunker is not placed as far forward at the front. This is where almost every player places it, and this makes it very vulnerable to force fields cutting off that isolated bunker. By placing it just a little bit back, you can place the second bunker here, and he's just as well defended, and he's less vulnerable to the force field pushes.
And actually, Bomber is a guy that will go ahead and throw down a couple of additional bunkers at the front and then salvage them once he feels like he is safe, but not wanting to get caught off by anything MC might do. There we see the tech lab going down, Stim right around the corner. Meanwhile, the robotics facility was thrown down for MC on the lower edge of the base, which will be really interesting because that will be a drop candidate later on.
I wonder if MC will be going for the fast robo push that we saw Squirtle do in game 1 of Squirtle vs. Bomber, where you add the robo facility, and this nice little platform is a great, you know, it's almost like the staircase that was in Prom and She's All That. She just, you know, a little parading down Colossus, gliding down to meet his wonderful, wonderful army attack at the front. That didn't really happen in the movie, but... No,
it didn't. It was kind of like that, but, you know, not exactly.
I still think Freddie Prinze Jr. would make a beautiful Colossus.
Well...
I heard it very loud and pronounced. What? From the crowd.
All right, one guy's happy. And then everyone else is like, who is Freddie Prinze Jr. anyway? So we've got the unloading of the bunker at the front. Marines moving out now. Stim is halfway done, and there is the Warp Prism moving out already.
It looks like MC loses that Stalker. That is always a painful encounter, and this is going to be real painful for Bomber in a second when he gets force fielded apart. And oh no, the Marines, he needed those so badly, and they are getting completely decimated by the perfect Zealot Sentry Force. Where is the Warp Prism? There it is. MC going for a big push in the main. Does he even have any more warp gates? Nope, just 3.
Oh, and he picks up the 3 Zealots and the Sentry. Sentry's up at the front. He's going to be able to elevator these up, and he's going to be able to force field the ramp and do a lot of damage here in the main. He might even be able to pick off the Tech Lab going for Stim.
20 seconds remain. 20 seconds. It's getting very low. He needs to throw down. No, he loses it, but the Stim goes down. And the force field at the ramp almost manages to pull it off, and it is a huge battle in the main with no Stim Marines. Another big vulnerability exploited here by MC.
Oh, wow. The SCV is now trying to escape. Marines are just trickling out of these barracks, and he's going to have another warp in here in just a moment. MC looks like he could take this game very, very quickly. We're about to hit the 10-minute mark. The Zealots are ripping apart these SCVs inside the main.
Good game!
Wow.
Oh, MC. You know, we've been talking about excellent adjustments, start to finish. And that was brilliant by MC. I mean, just thinking out loud, Marcus, how do you deal with a player who's opening up with a lot of bunkers, a lot of Marines, and a huge mid-game timing? Well, on Daybreak, we saw morphing in a couple more Stalkers and Sentries, and at the front, was able to force field the Marines forward to pick them off. In this next game that we just saw, how do you deal with a player with too many Marines and, you know, too many defenses at the front? You just do this cute force field play at his ramp, even if he wasn't able to kill off all those Marines. Still an amazingly nice position for MC because there's no Marauders to deal with. You're hitting right before you get the stim.
Right.
And MC, even without ripping apart those 12 Marines in the middle of the map, he still could have been in an excellent position with that play.
Yeah, I mean, even if he hadn't, most of the Marines were still at the front of the natural for Bomber. So he was in a great position, and he had the pylon there warping in. So he had the warp prism and the pylon there. He did manage to get units up into the main Bomber, then he could have warped in some units on low ground, sent them into the natural. It seemed like he had a lot of options there with that build as well.
Yeah, and I mean, just such a stunning series thus far. With that Game 4 being the turning point match, we saw MC seemingly down and out in the first 3 matches, unable to cope with any of the aggression of Bomber, and only just barely defending an all-in for his first win. But once he held off that huge push in Game 4, Game 5 was a quick situation. For the first time this tournament, we see Bomber on the verge of being eliminated in a series.
Yeah, and with Bomber getting that first win right away, he was looking to set the momentum and the pace for this grand finals, but MC was the one who brought it back and now has taken the lead, and now we're about to hop into game number 6.
Before game number 6, last shout out, of course, to the Fort Worth Barcraft. Gentlemen and ladies tuning in there, we hope you're enjoying yourselves. In this next match, we dedicate Metropolis to you.
Especially the islands.
And especially the mothership Battlecruiser Vortex. Oh my God, that was so sick. All right, let's go ahead and hop into this next game. The largest map in the map pool, GSL Metropolis. Are you ready for a long macro game, ladies and gents?